We sure do, yep, absolutely.
Nobody lies.
Yeah. Okay, I'd like to thank Jerry Earl for coming in from St. John's. He's going to have a few words in a few minutes, President Nate, as well as Mary Shorthall, President of Federation of Labor. I'm going to get her to kick it off and say the first words, and hopefully we can keep the ball rolling. Thanks.
Well, what a good turnout. You guys really know how to get a demo going. Let's have a little bit of noise. Let's make some noise. When I say they say cut back, you say we say fight back, right? They say cut back, we say fight back. They say cut back, we say cut back. Cut back. Cut back. Yeah, make some noise. Good. I just want to say thank you. It's a sign of your strength as a community to bring so because of this awful budget that's just been put down by the Liberal government. I've been here before, and I've been here at demonstrations here in Lab West, and I've seen what you've been through in the last several years. Talk about kicking you when you're down. You have been disproportionately kicked in the arse with this budget. Make no mistake about it. No wonder you're angry. Are you angry? Yeah! Show me how you're angry. But we're angry too. I'm Mary Shortall. I'm the president of Newfoundland Labrador Federation of Labor, and we represent 65,000 angry unionized sisters and brothers in every community in this province. And together we're going to fight this government, and we're going to fight the regressive taxes and their spending cuts all the way to the next election. We'll do that together. Demonstrations like this are so important. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. This is democracy. This is telling your MHA, this is telling the government what you think about the budget and what you want them to vote, how you want them to vote, how you want them to represent you in the House of Assembly, because that's what we elected them for. So demonstrations like this are very important, and I want to thank Nate and the Labour Council and steelworkers and everyone for putting this together and for doing this right across this province, because we got to keep doing it. We got to keep being angry. We got to turn that angry into action all across this province, and we got to turn that action into hope. And the Newfoundland Labrador Federation of Labor have just finished organizing a massive demonstration that's going to happen in St. John's next Saturday on May the 7th. We're going to bring people in from wherever we can bring them in from, and we're going to rally on Confederation Building, and we're going to say the same things that you're saying today on your behalf, and that's really good. Our motto, or our slogan for our demonstration is "We will rise." Hashtag We Will Rise will be the Twitter handle, and we will rise. Make no mistake about it, because when everybody gets together and when everybody says the same thing over and over again, we represent the majority of people, and this government should listen. They ought to listen to this, because we're the people who vote, and we're the people who are not very happy with this budget. There are clear alternatives at work. The government didn't have to do this. And what they're doing is they're using what the past mistakes of the government before them, and make no mistake about it, the PCs made a lot of mistakes too. But they're using those mistakes to try and justify giving richer people yet another break on the backs of the rest of us. And especially those of us who are the most vulnerable, like women, low-income earners, seniors, youth, students, children, people from rural Newfoundland Labrador, just to name a few. Every single person has been impacted by this budget. It's just like we paid for a big party that they had in 2006 in the boom times. I don't know if you really understood how we benefited from those boom times, but someone did. And it's like we paid for their party. We weren't invited to their party, and now they tell us we got to clean up after the party. And that's what it's like. This government had choices. We talked to them about the choices. You talk to them about the choices. People right across this province talk to them, but they chose not to listen. These cuts are divisive and they're unnecessary. In fact, the government should increase spending when times are tough. This could have been a jobs for everyone budget. People, God knows people in this community need a jobs for everyone budget. Instead, it's an austerity budget. We know that austerity budgets don't work. The federal Liberals know that austerity budgets don't work. Alberta, in the last budget that they had the same day as ours, knows that austerity budgets don't work. Other provinces know this. Around the world they know this. Cutting services that we depend on is not the answer. Taking away libraries from rural communities, taking away teeth from our seniors, their diabetic strips and their heat rebates, that's not fair. Court services from a community like this that's so far removed from St. John's, what sense is that in doing that? It's far, it just doesn't make sense at all. And yet the rich people still get away almost scot-free. Imagine a levy that puts a disproportionate amount in the pockets of richer people and not in your people, and not in our pockets. If you make $45,000 a year and there's 2 people in your house, you pay more in a tax levy than someone who makes $1 million a year, who pays $900 a levy. Tell me that's fair. Now the people who speak after me are going to talk about lots of the cuts that are happening and the impact that they have on you. You're living it. You know it. This community has been through hard times. They don't need these things that happen in the budget. What we needed was someone to believe in us, to someone to prop up the services that we need, someone to spend money in our communities and have a progressive tax system that allows us to do that, where people pay based on their ability to pay, not on anything else. And I'd like to thank everyone for coming here. I want to assure you that Newfoundland Labrador Federation of Labour and all its members will speak wherever we can with you and for you, and we ask you to keep up the fight and keep speaking with us, and let's keep this going. And thank you so much for being here. Fabian.
He's willing to stick around if anybody had any questions when this is over or during the demonstration. I do ask to keep it respectful. He is just one person in a bad situation, I guess. But anyway, in saying that he's our voice, absolutely, and he should do what we're asking him to do. These people here in front of me today did elect him to represent these people, and I don't think supporting this budget is representing these people at all. So next I'd like to call on Colin Vardy, Mayor of Wabush, to have a few words.
Thank you, Fabian. You know, we speak about vulnerable people, and the people of Labrador West are at probably one of the most vulnerable times they've ever been in their life. And, you know, we had to remind government that the mine behind us is closed. And while there's some hope on the horizon still today, we're still very vulnerable. Me, like many of you, I'm backwards on my mortgage. You know, I owe more than it's worth. You know, you can't leave when you're in those types of situations to go find work elsewhere. You know, everybody in this crowd has been affected in the last couple of years by what happened here with the industry. And all this budget do is make you guys more vulnerable. You know, I spoke to our MHA just about an hour ago, and I encouraged them to have courage moving forward and to do what's right for the people of Labrador West. And I have that message for all MHAs. You know, the people in these situations, they have to do what they believe is best for the people of Labrador West, not their party or their leader. And all we can do is hope that they have the courage that we need right now. And Graham, we had the conversation just an hour ago, and respectfully, use all the courage you got and do what's right for the people of Labrador West. Thank you.
I thought Karen Hofer was going to be here. I'm not sure if she was here yet or not.
It's my absolute pleasure to be here on behalf of NAPE, along with Brother Bert London, our Secretary Treasurer, and our Vice President, Western Vice President of NAPE is here with me also. We're here to lend our support to Labrador West. We have NAPE members in each and every community pretty well across Newfoundland and Labrador that provide invaluable services. And first I'll say, I make no apology for representing public services and private employees across this province. I just wish the Liberal MHAs would step up and represent the people in their districts as we represent our membership. Like your mayor just said, Labrador West is going through a difficult enough time. Is that a time when you expect your government to remove services from a community that is already facing economical difficulties? Is that a time that you not need to count on services being provided to people? Is that not a time that you should count on your government and count on a government that you elected, like most Newfoundland and Labradorians across this province, on the promise of a stronger tomorrow?
Shame on them!
And one thing I will do, because I haven't seen this at a lot of the demonstrations, Mr. Leto, I applaud you for attending on the first piece. But clearly, like the mayor has said here, like people are saying throughout Newfoundland and Labrador, you were elected by the people. You were elected on a promise of a stronger tomorrow. Not once in your campaigns did I hear you say, we're going to remove public services, we're going to eliminate jobs, we're going to introduce levies, we're going to tax you to death, we're going to close nursing homes from seniors and take away their homes. Not one of those promises did I hear you make. So what I'm asking the Liberal MHAs, go back and have the guts to stand up for the people that elected you, because you will come back to them in 4 years. And I can tell you, if I'm still in this capacity, as I've said in other districts, we will be there right to the eve of the next election to remind people what this government done in the first months of their election.
And so will we.
Absolutely.
Before we got rid of them.
Like the sign over here says, it appears that Dwight dropped the ball. It is up to you to clearly send those messages, and you have been doing it loud and clear. You need to Mr. Leto, you have to phone him, email him, send him Facebook messages, make sure he knows what your position is so that he is fully aware that he cannot go back and say, I was not aware what the constituents in my district wanted me to do. Across Newfoundland Labrador communities that myself and Bert and other representatives of NAPE have been in, the message is clear. We do not want this stronger tomorrow that we are currently enduring. That is not what your promise was. Like I said here, you're going to have this courthouse closed. It's a service that is, the justice system is actually the foundation of your community. That is what's being pulled out. AES offices. They are people that provide services when you lose your jobs, when you go into difficulties. They are closing those offices. Then the levy that was just talked about. Somebody making $200,000 is going to pay in the range of $700,000. Many of you here that will make significantly less than that is going to pay half or more. Is that fair? Like I said, we will. Our organization that has 25,000 members across this province, we're part of the Federation of Labour and we're proud to be part of that. We will stand with Labrador West. We will stand with the big land of Labrador. We will stand with our rural communities across the province. What we can do to support the communities, I can tell you, we will be doing. We've been into a number of communities already. We're going into many more over the coming days, and this message is the same. We will be there to support these communities. They have been there to support our members over the years, and I can tell you we certainly owe that back to them. I want to thank you for the opportunity for being here. If there's anything we can do to lend a hand along the way, we gladly will. And thank you for the opportunity, and I'll certainly be sticking around for the day. If you want to have a conversation, I'd certainly welcome it. Thank you again on behalf of myself, Bert, and Joanne Miles that's here. And I just seen a little one fall right in that puddle of water. Anyway, thank you very much.
Guys, this is just the beginning of a fight. There's no end in sight as far as I'm concerned, except for 4 years from now. But if they're still going along these roads, they're done. There's not much else left to say. I think it's pretty much all been said, unless someone else has a few words you want to have. But I don't see we're over here.
I'm here today representing two groups, obviously NAPE and the Federation of Labour. I'm also the Secretary Treasurer, to join the community here in Labrador West on a cold day. But I can tell you, not nearly so cold as the first Liberal budget. And I had to speak because I'm also extremely surprised at all the hot air from the Confederation building haven't made it up north yet.
Now we're outside the overpass, we don't count.
But I tell you, in all seriousness, as Jerry had indicated, the Liberal government came to power on a promise of a stronger tomorrow. But the only thing that I find stronger is the smell of a government that's showed in no uncertain terms its dishonesty and its deceit and its disdain for the voter. All that I find stronger, quite frankly, is the smell of a government who has gone rotten to its very core. All that I find stronger is the strong order of a government who has quickly become stale-dated. What kind of government in its right mind would bring forward a budget that outlines in no uncertain terms that they're preparing a budget that's going to mean that 0.6% of the population is going to leave this province each and every single year during their term. Thousands of young men, thousands of young women, thousands of families who are told to leave with no hope of a future, no hope in their communities. What kind of government would say to people, I knew I had a great audience, but hopefully they're only practicing. What kind of government, I'd ask you? What kind of representation is it when you have a government who brings in a first budget that's projecting that the unemployment rate will grow from a little over 13% to 19.8% over its term? That's 15 to 20,000 more layoffs to come in both the public and the private sector. I'm sure this community can't afford to lose one more job.
Not one.
One single person. One single resident. I'd say to you, because I'm looking with great interest at Nalcor, a government who can find $1.3 billion for Nalcor should be able to find enough of money to keep that courthouse open. A government who can find $1.3 billion for Nalcor, my heavens, should be able to find $1 million to keep all the libraries in Newfoundland and Labrador open. Is that asking for too much? A measly $1 million so that families can go to libraries, take their children to learn, to read. It's a fundamental right that people should have. You have to remember that public services are community services. They're people's services. They're your services. They're the very foundation on which a community grows and prospers. How can this community survive without proper health care, without proper court system, without proper public services? They're yours, and you should fight every single day to fight until this courthouse is restored and this government brings in a new budget that acts responsibly and in the best interests of the citizens. I'd say to the MHA here today, and all Liberal MHAs, it's time to stand up and be counted. It's time to show your cards. Either you're going to stand with the people or you're going to stand against the people. And I think it's in everybody's best interest for all our politicians to stand with our communities and to stand with our people. And NAPA stands shoulder to shoulder. The Federation of Labour stands shoulder to shoulder to anybody who wants to fight to keep and preserve our public services throughout Newfoundland and Labrador West is no exception. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bert. Well said. So I guess that'll be the end of it for now. Graham is here if anybody has any questions for him. Jerry will be around. Is Karen here yet? No? Okay. Is she running yet?
Prime time for sure. There's no doubt that this is a tough budget. I believe there's a better way. And certainly the cuts that are here to the courthouse challenge the minister to see if in fact they're going to save money by virtue of making that change and that cuts. And that's where I've left it to. And he is certainly willing to sit down. So I notice there's lots of great people here that are like-minded. He's willing to sit down with us and go through that, because if he's not going to save money, there's no point in taking it out of one pocket and putting it in the other. And so that's where the reality is too. And I think that if we can show him I guess the evidence that around the money part of it, that this may actually change. And that's where my hope is too. So thank you for being here today. That's certainly a great way of showing that to the minister.
Thank you, Karen. So like I said earlier, he'll be around. If you want to have any questions for him, he's just right over there, corner of the building. Other than that, we'll put it into it. Thanks everybody again for coming out. And let's keep up the fight as long